Hi everyone, welcome to the Furniture Fix. I'm Raina. This week I'm going to be working on a combo dresser. A combo dresser is a dresser that has drawers as well as some other storage areas such as open shelving or some cabinet doors. And this week should be a pretty easy one. It's a lot of cleanup, it's some touch-ups here and there. Some of the stain has faded over time and there is one big crack, but I think I can handle it. So let's go ahead and get to work on this week's furniture fix. This is one of the largest pieces that I've worked on so far. This piece was given to me by a friend of my mother-in-law's who could not fit it in her U-Haul truck when she moved out of state. So this piece doesn't have too many things that I need to fix, but it definitely needs a cleaning. It's been in my garage for quite a few months, I think almost a year. So I'm just going to use the crud cutter and give it a good wipe down. I'm going to get all the nooks and crannies, remove the drawers, and then I did vacuum, but I did not take a video of that. But that's definitely a step you do not want to skip, especially if you've had a piece sitting outside in a garage or a warehouse or a shed. You definitely want to get your vacuum cleaner in there. So I'm just going through and wiping everything down. Now normally I will remove the hardware before I clean, but since I plan to remove every drawer and clean it individually, I'll do it at that time. Now I've got to go in with the crud cutter and get a little more detailed on the cleaning because there's a lot of these little crevices that have some dust and just weirdness that has hung onto it. And so I'm just going to go in with a little nylon brush and kind of brush all that stuff off. And again, I just want to get all the little nooks and crannies cleaned up. So after I've wiped down the outer piece, I want to go in and get all the nooks and crannies inside the cabinet just because this is going to be going into someone's home. We want to make sure it's as clean as possible for them. So I'll just go through with the crud cutter and get all of the little areas there that are easy to miss, but definitely don't want to miss this step. Now that the cabinet is wiped down, I'll take the crud cutter and wipe down each and every drawer. I'm going to wipe down the fronts, the bottoms, the sides, and inside the drawers as well. Looking at these drawers, they look really good. They're not damaged at all, and the insides are really clean. So what I'm going to do is just give them a nice fresh up. I will line these drawers just because I love the way that lined drawers look. It just gives it a little extra pop. But before we can get into that fun stuff, I've got to rinse away all the residual crud cutter that's been left behind from wiping it down. So I'm just going to take some soapy warm water and give the whole piece a wipe down as well as all the drawers. This is just going to ensure that when I go in with the Restora finish, it's going to have the cleanest surface possible. And so I'll just keep going until I've completely rinsed off the whole piece and the drawers. So now we've come to the part where I'm going to attempt to camouflage this huge crack on the side. I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but it's a pretty big gap in that crack, and I'm going to do my best to try to fill it with some tinted wood putty. Now I don't have a whole lot of colors, actually. I think I just have two at this moment, which is this kind of mahogany color, and then I've got a blonder color. So I figured this would be the best color to use with what I have, and then I can try to go in and kind of color match it with some furniture paint markers or crayons once this is all dried up and sanded. This is just a lot of wiping it back and filling it in. It's just such a big crack that I had to keep going back in to make sure that it was raised up a little so I can sand it smooth. So hopefully it'll blend in seamlessly once it's all done. The funny thing about this crack is that it does not go all the way through to the other side of this panel. So it's kind of interesting. I wonder how this happened. For this piece, I'm going to use the Restore Finish. This product comes in different colors depending on what kind of wood you're working with. I picked the mahogany because in real life this dresser looks to be mahogany. It's got a lot of red tint in it. I'm not sure if it comes through on the camera very well, but that's my best guess. So the way this is going to work is you just wipe it on and then wait a little while, a few minutes maybe, and then just wipe it back. Now for this particular piece overall, it definitely brought back some life into it. Now this product claims that it removes scratches, like it buffs them out. I didn't have a ton of scratches, but it overall worked really well. Now, something that I learned after I used it on this piece is that the best product you can put this on is a product that hasn't been like sealed or lacquered over. Basically, if it's shiny and you're trying to put this product on a shiny surface, it's not going to buff out the scratches. You've got to bring it back to bare wood basically for it to do that kind of buff out. So this Restore Finish is doing a really nice job of bringing life back to this piece. It's giving it a nice little shine, and you'll see once I wipe back the extra Restore Finish that it's going to look really, really nice and subtle, almost like a satin finish. And it's also filling in some of the micro scratches that it has. This piece didn't have a whole lot of nicks, stings, or even scratches. So this is a really good product just to give it a little fresh up. So this is one of the parts of refinishing furniture that I love, is going in and getting detailed with the scratches and the little nicks and the fading of the wood stain. So I'm just going in with some furniture markers, just trying to blend in a couple of different colors. This particular piece has a lot of variations, especially at the bottoms. It's kind of like this light brown going into a mid-tone, kind of reddish mahogany. So I'm actually working with 2 or 3 different colors here, and I'm just doing my best to blend it in, kind of buffing it out as I go. So this is all just kind of artistic, creative license here to just kind of go at it and do your best to try to blend it in and get rid of some of those marks and little scratches that it may have. Time for the hardware. This step is important if you're going to be reusing your hardware and you're going to change the color. You'll want to lightly sand it just so that it's got some grip for whatever product you're going to put onto your hardware. You definitely don't want to skip on cleaning your pieces off. You don't want any little debris or sanding bits to catch when you put whatever product you're going to use on your hardware after this. So I decided to use some gilding wax to change the color from this pale gold to kind of like a pewter color is what I was aiming for. So I'm just using some light small strokes on here just to get the wax on and push it around just so it can completely cover the piece. Now this is an oil-based product, so you really don't have to seal that once it cures, and usually it does take a couple of weeks to fully cure, but you should be able to buff it out, after like an hour or so. I usually wait way longer than that, but that's what they recommend. And I'm going to be honest, gilding wax has not been my friend the last few projects I've tried it on. I have had luck with one project, and it's because I didn't try to use it to cover the whole piece. I guess it's best used to kind of highlight areas. I'm not really sure. I'm still learning how to use the product, although I do like how it looks on some pieces. But again, all of this is just kind of try it, see what works and what doesn't, and then proceed with what you're comfortable with. So I'm not going to forget about adding the pewter gilding wax to the lock and key. So I'm just going to go in and just do the same, just small little brush strokes, and then after about a few hours I'll probably come back and buff it all out. It's time to line the drawers, which is one of my favorite parts of refinishing furniture. So this is a little template that I made because I have so many drawers to do. I figured if I make myself a little template, I'll lay it down and then I'll just kind of assembly line cut all the pieces for the drawers. And so that's what I'm doing. This actually worked out really well for me in this situation and made the process go a lot faster than it would if I was just individually measuring every drawer out. Now that I've got all my pieces cut out, I'm ready to place them inside the drawers. Now, this part can be pretty challenging when you're first starting out, and it does get easier the more drawers you do. It's pretty frustrating to try to roll it out and not get them stuck on each other. You just gotta go for it and do your best. Always make sure you get enough paper for any mistakes that might happen. That's always good because I know I've messed up one and luckily I had extra to finish the project. So basically, you just kind of want to take it slow, have a plan going in, what corner or how are you going to remove that backing, and just make sure you're not getting your corners crossed. And then just, kind of lay it in there. And then once you kind of have it where you want it, just make sure you press it down gently and just start smoothing it out. My tool is my little card that I have. It's just an old gift card, and I just go through and I smooth it out with that. They do make actual contact paper smoothers, but I have old gift cards, so I'll just use that. So now you'll want to go in with a blade of some sort, an X-Acto knife, whatever it is, just make sure it's really sharp because you don't want the blade to catch on the contact paper because it'll rip it in worst case scenario. So the sharper the blade, the smoother, the cleaner your cut's going to be. And you just want to get rid of all that extra contact paper off on the sides there. You'll just continue to go box by box and line them up. Here I kind of got some, I don't know what it is, some debris, maybe some dog hair, I'm not sure. But I always have a pair of tweezers in the workshop just ready to pick out anything I might have gotten, mainly on my paint or top coat. If I can get to it and not mess up the finish, that's always nice. So in this case, having those tweezers helped out because I got something on that contact paper and I don't remember what, but I definitely was able to get it out. And when I laid down the contact paper, it was smooth. Now that I've got the hardware all buffed out, I'm ready to place it back on the drawers. So I'll just go through and do each drawer. So I'm just about finished with this project, just putting in the last few drawers, or so I thought. This doesn't look right to me. So I did not like the way the hardware looked. The color of the hardware is the problem. It's too light for this piece. And so I'm going to take it off and figure out what color I want these pieces to be. And yes, friends, sometimes there is that step where you've got to redo your piece. It happens. So here we go. I'm going to sand off the gilding wax, and my plan is to go in with a darker spray. I definitely had the vision of having the hardware be a dark pewter color, and that's what I'm still trying to achieve. Now I've got my hardware attached to my cardboard piece. I'm just screwing them in. I've created a jig of sorts so that I can spray paint these without worrying that I'm not getting even coverage or that one piece is going to touch the other. And you'll see in the next frame how I rig that up. So I just hang them by some wire upside down on this clothing rack. I'm going to be using this hammered effect in the charcoal color. It has a really light hammered effect once it's dry. And I had to go ahead and cover up my whole piece because I did not want to ruin that finish. And sometimes you just got to take that extra step to ensure that you're not going to make more work for yourself. Here you can see how I've rigged the hardware up. It just makes it easier for me to get a smooth application. It's easier to get to all the handles evenly, and I know I'm not going to miss any part of my hardware. So I just like to have fun and experiment in different ways that I can paint different types of hardware, because I've had it where I have really messed up some hardware because it touched the other plate or whatever the case may be. So sometimes you just kind of have to experiment and see what kinds of things work best in your workshop. I generally do 2 to 3 light coats of paint on my hardware, and then I follow that up with some top coat, another 2 or 3 coats, just so that the paint doesn't rub off and it's going to last for a long time. Now that I fixed the hardware color, let's see the final results. I am loving that pop of color when you open up the drawer. Guys, I really love the way this turned out. That Restora finish really brought back the life of this set of drawers. So I did post this on Marketplace and it did sell for $400. Now that's a little bit low for a piece this size, but in my market, these types of pieces don't sell very well. I put in a few hours, literally maybe 6 hours if that, and cost of supplies was less than $15 because I had most everything. And so it was a nice profit for me for something that really took no time at all. It was really just a refresh piece, but it came out so lovely and the people that went home with it absolutely loved it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me during this week's Furniture Fix. Please like and subscribe if you like what you saw, and I will see you next week.